In this video, I want to read my statement of interest, which is kind of like a cover letter that I had to submit as part of my application for grad school. I wrote this back in January of 2018, so this would have been before I even started considering doing any gender affirming care, which is wild to think. So I just want to read to you my it's kind of like my intent or my goals that I had for this program. Here goes. In order to create transformative change that I would like to see in the world, it is imperative for me to understand the realities and lived experiences of those who live on the margins. It is with this in mind that I would like to express my interest in the full-time Master of Science program in Family Relations and Human Development at the University of Guelph. My reason to pursue a graduate study is to gather as much information and knowledge as I possibly can so that I can do the work that I am committed to. As a non-binary, queer person of color and first-generation immigrant in Canada, I have come to understand the ways in which the systems that currently exist and operate perpetuate violence and harm to certain groups of people while continuing to sustain power for others. Though navigating my identities through a post-secondary institution was challenging and isolating, it was the reality of my struggles that have guided me to seek opportunities that would allow me to create real and effective change on a systemic level. To this end, I have made the decision to commit my life's work to challenge the systems and be part of the social justice movements alongside those who see the value of equity, resiliency, community, and justice. I believe that every lesson and experience I would gather throughout this program will be invaluable to strengthen my critical social justice framework necessary to do this work. Specifically, I hope that one day I would have enough knowledge and expertise to create more inclusive spaces where ongoing support and resources would be available to those who need them. When I was completing my Bachelor of Science degree studying health sciences at Wilfrid Laurier University, I felt very much out of place and often had to negotiate the intersectionality of my identities while carrying the burden of being silenced. However, the moment that I chose to take control of my own learning experience and my own education, that was the moment I discovered the power of research. During my final year of my undergraduate degree, I completed an honors thesis under the supervision of Dr. Sian Wilson, along with guidance from Dr. Rob Travers and Dr. Laura May Lindo, who was the Director of Diversity and Equity Office. My research was on race and racism in Canadian post-secondary institutions, which caused me to feel overwhelmed and frustrated and depressed. This confirmed my interest in pursuing a career to help individuals who are living on the margins. I spent an entire year researching and learning about racism, so it was inevitable that I would start to make connections to my own lived experiences. Most of the academic books and articles that I read presented the ongoing violence that racialized individuals have to endure every single day, and it felt like someone took off my blinder and I was finally able to see the complexity and the reality of race and racism that I was experiencing and have experienced for many years. This is when I started seeing myself as an agent of change, and that is one of the reasons for me going into this field of work. In addition to my undergrad thesis, I was also working on a separate project that was part of the Student and Community Research Partnership for Social Justice and Wellbeing Internship program. And working collaboratively with my colleagues, I took part in researching to produce knowledge for the community partner from the AIDS Committee of Cambridge, Kitchener, Waterloo and area, known as AQUA. And this project was meant to provide assistance to the organization by providing them with information that they seek to improve their services for Indigenous peoples in the area. But due to the lack of knowledge on how their services should be provided for Indigenous peoples, my research team sets out to conduct a research project that would inform their development of services for the Indigenous communities, honoring and respecting the Indigenous ideologies and teachings. This project became one of the most significant learning experiences of my research career, For the first time, I was exposed to the lived realities of Indigenous communities and the ongoing colonization that has been silenced within the Western education system. And during this process, my reflexivity led me to unpack and unlearn what I was told to be the knowledge and truth. And rather than continuing this work, my team and I decided to let go of our research project that we proposed and turned our final product to become a reflective report on the difficulties of Indigenous research and recommending approaches for non-Indigenous researchers to consider if they are seeking to do this work with Indigenous communities. And to this end, I have committed my future research work to be authentic, collaborative, and most importantly, to ensure that the voices of those who have been silenced would become loud and clear in order to move forward in performing equity and social justice work. Lastly, another significant experience that have guided me towards this program was my dedication and commitment to the volunteer work that I have been doing as a volunteer coordinator at the Rainbow Center. This organization, or this student-led group, is part of the Diversity and Equity Office, providing support and resources for 2S LGBTQ+ students, faculty, and staff members at Wilfrid Laurier University's Waterloo campus. While upholding my responsibilities and ensuring the growth and development of the center during the last 2 years of my undergraduate degree, I was also discovering my identities and learning different ways to navigate through a post-secondary institution. The more I struggled to feel a sense of belonging in my program, the more passionate I became towards creating a safer and more inclusive space for myself and others who does not fit neatly within the expectations of cis-heteronormative society. My expertise has been recognized by prominent faculty member requesting that I work in a consultative capacity on their research projects, as well as my experience responding to student needs within the education institution has allowed me to demonstrate critical awareness of diversity and the ways in which inclusive and safer spaces are crucial parts of performing equity and social justice work. So the Family Relations and Human Development program is the perfect fit for what I have been looking for as a stepping stone towards building my career with a critical social justice framework. My intended area of emphasis within this program is to raise the voices of queer, trans, non-binary, and racialized individuals, creating a space where their oppression and challenges of navigating through the systems would be heard. The knowledge that I would gain from this program would allow me to develop more nuanced understanding of gender and sexuality beyond the binary, and how to navigate public spaces that are currently and continually being unsafe and violent to many racialized, queer, trans, and non-binary individuals, especially for people of color. Due to the lack of resources and support that currently exists within these communities, my primary goal is to focus on ways in which I could strategically plan and develop services that would change people's lives and supporting them in meaningful ways. My research interests include the 2S LGBTQ+ communities, specifically queer, trans, and non-binary people's experiences, and gender, sexuality, and the connections to trauma, violence, and systems of oppression and resiliency. Coming from an anti-oppression lens and social justice framework, recognizing the intersectionality and unpacking the root causes of prejudice and discrimination towards queer and trans and racialized communities, these research areas are closely congruent with the expertise of my old advisor who I started my master's program with. I reached out and expressed my interest in working with them, and I hope to connect with more faculty members that would consider taking me under their guidance to do this work in the most meaningful ways. No matter how many places and programs I have considered, I am certain that there is nowhere else I would rather be. Currently, my plans after this graduate program is to continue building strong relationships with my community and creating spaces where people could go for support and resources. Using the knowledge that I hope to gain from this program, I would do whatever it takes to ensure equity and inclusivity of marginalized communities. My career choice is open to the unlimited possibilities as long as it is within the set of values that I uphold. As someone who does not fit neatly into the binary system of identities, it is my life's work to continually resist the systems and simply to exist in the world each day. It is to this end that I would like to encourage you to put your trust in me to do this work. I would also like to thank you for your time and energy you have put into my application. There's a lot for me to even address throughout this because now that I have gone through this program, obviously this is what I was like imagining, and my actual experience in this program was even more complicated. And I am grateful that I have completed this program, but in terms of like where I actually want to be with my community and the work that I want to do, it didn't really help me much in that sense. I think I'm at the crossroads where I need to figure out ways that I can show up for my people and my communities in ways that feels truly authentically me. And I've been trying to do this without being attached to any institution or not doing it within any institution, because I wrote this after watching Laurier completely dismantled the Diversity and Equity Office and also threw the Rainbow Center under the bus with all of the Lindsay Shepherd and Jordan Peterson stuff that happened and the right wing attacking the Rainbow Center. But because I just graduated and I wasn't working there anymore when all of this happened, I was supporting my friends who were there and was getting caught in the fire. And that's when I realized all of the work and the many years that I have put into that space, it really wasn't sustainable or long-lasting. And I'm actually really angry at the fact that they still have that center today, but it's not what I built, and it's certainly not the same after what Laurier did to us. This is just one of the experiences that I have been working through. Actually, in February, a couple months ago, I was really struggling with my PTSD and had a lot of really bad flashbacks from all of the protests and rallies and organizing that I've done. And I think now it's hard for me to have faith in my communities when over the past 2 years, a lot of people have just watched me struggle, and a lot of people just let my abuser abuses their power over me and have silenced me. And I think it's one thing to read and write about racism and microaggressions, but it's another when you're living it and experiencing it every day. And now it's even harder to call out on the discrimination and the violence that actually happened on a daily basis, because all the racists are actually much better at hiding themselves. Especially white organizers tend to have their way with using the buzzwords to... It's what I noticed, that a lot of white organizers do take credit for a lot of things, but it's not just the people who are the loudest at the rallies and at the protests. It's also the care work that I do and the emotional labor that I put in and invested into my communities that matters to me the most. And I have been there and supporting people through their darkest times, and I have had a lot of queer and trans youth that I deeply care about, but circumstances have kept me apart from them. That is part of why I am back to making YouTube videos, and I'm going to keep sharing all of my work and my stories and my experiences, because I know that out there, many queer and trans youth that are like me, feeling really lost and feeling unsafe. And it's really important that you help me grow this channel and help me help them find the support that they need. That's the work that I'm doing, or have been doing, and I'm continuing to do. But I'm not your typical researcher. I vow to not be a helicopter researcher, and I take pride in my ability to show up for other people. But right now I am not doing okay, and I'm really burnt out. Grad school didn't teach me how to be successful in my career or in this work that I do, because I have been struggling to even create space for for me to exist, or for my research to be put out there. At this point, I really don't want any more excuses from people that we need to do any more research, because we don't. All the research has been done. Start by reading my thesis that I have curated and put on my Linktree. Start by reading my zine. Start by watching my YouTube videos and the videos that I have worked and curated with my friend at the Erotic Pedagogy Project. There are many more storytellers and QT BIPOC experiences that deserves your attention now more than ever. And I'll leave it there. For now, please subscribe and follow me on my YouTube and Instagram. I'm trying really hard to be more active, but I'm also have to limit my screen time, because I really can't engage with too much with it, because it's just a lot. The world is a lot, and I've been through a lot. I'm still not fully out of it yet, but I know what I need, and I'm trying to do the best that I can to take care of myself, so that I can take care of my parents, I can take care of my fur babies, and I can take care of my communities. If you would like to support me and my work, please consider making a donation. I'm gonna have my Patreon up, but the biggest support right now that I need is the resources, the financial piece, and I want to be able to do this on my own terms and do this fully as a full-time content creator and educator outside of any Western institutions. If you have any thoughts or suggestions or ideas on how I can be of service and continue to show up and support and work with queer and trans youth, especially any QT BIPOCs out there, please let me know, and please send them my way. I'm still here, and I'm going to keep trying to make a difference and be part of the change, but I need my people to come work with me and help me, because I can't do this by myself, and the work is not all on me. I know that it's not just on one person. It's going to take every single one of us to do our parts, and right now rest is more important to me, so I'm just going to focus on that, and I'll see you next time.